Before we get into today's video, I do want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. Good morning, my lovelies, my beauties, my friends. My name is Christina and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you will subscribe, stick around, take a chance in hearing some things that I have to say. And if you are a returning subscriber, y'all already know, y'all are my babies. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. And I hope you all are having a wonderful week. And I hope everybody is doing well. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about a situation that happened in a smallish area, I guess I would call it, in a place called Buffalo Grove. This suburb type of area is right outside of Chicago, Illinois. And when I looked it up, you guys, it looks stunningly beautiful there. I mean, it is lots of greenery, big, beautiful homes. The population is just a little bit less than 50,000. So it seems like it could be like a more intimate type of community. And it just seems like the type of place that any family would love to settle down, raise their children, and live their lives. The situation that we're going to be talking about today was actually requested of me by one of my Patreons. And if you guys don't know, hi, my name is Christina. I do have a second channel, which is Casually Christina. Over there, we do things more casually, more laid back. I also have a Patreon. My Patreon is for 18 and up. And over there, we talk about more personal story times. We go live over there. And we have a $2 tier, which is where I put all of the true crime cases and stuff like that, where we sometimes go over, you know, maybe more documents and stuff that we can't talk about on YouTube due to their terms and policies. All that goes over on my Patreon. And I also have a Snapchat as well as a Facebook and an Instagram. And those are always linked down in the description box if you'd like to come and check me out. So with this case, I'm going to do my best to do like I typically do, because this is a bizarre one, y'all. This has got a bizarre ending, in my opinion. And this literally just happened last year in 2022. So let's just start at the beginning. Andre and Vera Kislyak were living in a $1 million beautiful home just 30 miles outside of Chicago, Illinois, when it seemed that they were living a perfectly happy life. Andre was 39 and Vera was 36. They both immigrated to America from Europe after they got married in 2013. The couple actually was set up on a blind date and had only seen each other or been together 6 times before they got married. They had 2 gorgeous daughters together, a 6-year-old Vivian, who was described as outgoing and loved to run and play. She loved unicorns, and 4-year-old Amelia, who was described to be of the more shy type. One of the neighbors said that the 2 girls were always dressed so beautifully, and sometimes they would even come outside in their little tutus. They would stand outside, they would play in the yard, and they just seemed like happy, loving little girls. And Andre's mother, Lilia, who was 67 years old, moved in with them just recently in October of 2022. Vera was described by her friend as a doting and loving mother. She didn't have a lot of friends, but the friends that she did have here in America described her as just a wonderful mother. All of Vera's family was back in Belarus and Poland, where she was from. Andre, who worked as a tennis coach, was athletic and handsome, according to a friend who also said that they seemed like the happiest couple. They seemed to be very much in love, and there was no red flags, according to this friend. However, as we have heard time and time again, things behind the scenes were not as happy as they seemed. They weren't as happy as the smiling pictures on social media, or as maybe some of the friends thought that they were, or maybe the smiles on the little girls' faces showed the world that they were happy. Behind the scenes, there was actually a lot more going on. And even to the point that Andre had actually recently filed for a divorce against his wife. Andre filed for a divorce in July of 2022, and allegedly he told one of his friends that he was filing for this divorce because he knew that his wife Vera didn't have no money because she was a stay-at-home mom at this point. that she didn't have no money, and if he filed for a divorce, she would come begging and running back to him to take care of her. Now, mind you guys, like I told y'all in the beginning, they were living in a mega $1 million home. Do you guys see this home with this pool? I mean, this is one of them homes. I don't know about y'all. Some of y'all probably live in those types of homes. I'm gonna tell y'all what people like me do. We drive by y'all's houses real slowly, taking pictures, like drooling, like, wow, that's this type of home that they lived in. And so now the husband, Andre, is telling his friend, I'm going to file for a divorce against my wife so she will come running to me, begging for me to take care of her because I've got all the money and she don't have no money. Now get this, 2 different lawyers withdrew from handling this divorce with Andre for some reason. Okay, now the lawyers was like, yeah, we're not going to take this divorce case on with you. And when that happened, this is when Andre said, okay, we'll bump it. I just won't get a divorce then. I'll figure something else out. And this is also when it came out that Vera, she wanted the divorce. She didn't want it to fall through. She did want to separate from her husband. After this happened, things took a very, very terrible turn between the two. Reports show that Vera had actually called the Buffalo Grove Police Department as early as 2018 to ask officers for advice with her marital problems, totaling 14 different calls. 10 calls where Vera called the police, 3 calls where Andre called the police, and 1 call where an unknown third party called them. 9 of those calls were all from August, September, October, and November of 22. So 9 calls to the cops in 4 months. That is a lot. The first call from this time period, Vera told the police that night that she had tried to record Andre's erratic behavior on her phone, but he grabbed her phone and threw it to the ground, damaging the phone's screen. This incident ended with officers separating the couple and advising Vera to obtain a protective order. The next day, the police reports show officers were called out to a cafe after someone had called 911 to report Andre had brought his 4- and 6-year-old daughters to the bar where he seemed intoxicated. The 911 caller even told the operator that they feared for these 2 little girls' safety. So they're sitting up at this bar, and here's a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old with a slam dunk drunk daddy bringing them in there. And then he walks off and leaves the 2 little girls alone. So they're sitting in this bar by themselves, and he is tore up. The 911 caller also told the operator that when she went up to talk to the little girls said that they were afraid to go home because when they go home, daddy hits them, and they were scared. So when the officers got out there, this is when the officers saw Andre. He was back at this point and saw the 2 kids, and the officers asked the little 6-year-old girl, asked her in front of her daddy if it was true. And what do y'all think she said? She said no. It just gives me chills thinking about it, y'all. Of course that baby was going to say no and not answer in front of her dad. You're supposed to take the children away if you think that there's this type of situation and ask them in private. So the officers let them go. 4 days later, on August 28th, officers were called out to the home again after Vera told the officers she was having a verbal argument with her husband while putting her daughters to bed, and that Andre had threatened physical harm, including punching one of the girls if they didn't leave the room with him. Vera told the officers that she wanted to leave the house with her children, and when the officers told Andre that Vera had every right to, they say Andre was not happy with this and said that he would be speaking with his attorney. The report indicates that officers waited as Vera gathered some belongings for her children and they left the home with Vera. A 911 phone call came in from Vera, and she was telling the operator that her husband had stolen her vehicle. Listen to this.
Police and fire, where do you need assistance? Yes, hi. I would like to make a report about stolen car. My car disappeared at night from this Sunday to Monday at night.
Okay, have you already reported it stolen?
No, I didn't report it. So my husband, I suspect my husband because he has an extra key, but by court order, he must pay me the car. And I used the car for 2 weeks, and then it just disappeared. And I think he took it. But when my lawyer called him, he said, I have no idea where the car is.
Why do you think your husband took it?
So I have a court order that my husband must give me the car, and he gave me the car, and I used it for about 2 weeks, but he had an extra key. And at that night, He was walking through driveway back and forth, checking the car, and then I have a video. That he was on the driveway at that night. And then when I woke up in the morning, it was just stolen. It disappeared.
Okay.
And no alarm, no nothing, because he just used the car as a key.
4 days later, Vera ended up calling 911 again, asking the officers to come there and remove Andre from the house.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
Okay, Terrace.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
So by court, we are doing the divorce. By court order, he can't be in the house for 2 weeks until the next court date. Next court date, September 14th.
So what's going on today? Is he there?
He's just sleeping as usual, like nothing happened.
Okay, so who is this person? This is your husband, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so he's there and he's sleeping, but per your court order, he's not allowed to be in the house.
He's not allowed to be in the house, yes.
Okay. I'm going to get some help started, some police over to your house to address this with him. Ma'am, anybody have any weapons?
Yes, he's not dangerous. They can just ask him to take his clothes and just leave the house.
The following day, on September 11th, Andre called the police and said, "Hey, my wife has got her friend in this house. Come and make my wife's friend leave."
Police and fire dispatch, how can I help you?
Yes, how are you?
Good, how can I help you?
I need an officer at my residence. There's my wife's friend has been over. I don't know what she's doing here. She's not supposed to be any visitors. Can you send an officer?
Okay, and you're saying that your wife's friend is there and he or she is not supposed to be there?
Correct. She's sleeping in my daughter's bedroom.
Who let her into the house?
On my daughter's bed. Huh?
Who let her into the house?
I have no idea. She's not supposed to have visitors. I need this woman out. She's sleeping in my daughter's bed.
I understand.
And then on September 30th, 3 911 calls were made, 2 by Andre and 1 by Vera.
And one with the address of the emergency.
Yes, hi. Good morning. I have a situation. I have an order of protection. And my ex-husband not allowed to be in the house. But he's in the house right now. And I asked him to leave. And he said, call emergency because I don't feel well. I need help. He said he doesn't feel well at all and he's not able to get up.
911, what's the address emergency?
Patient Terrace. That's where I need to pick up my stuff from.
Okay, you need to go there to get your belongings, you're saying?
Yes.
And you're looking for an officer to stand by with you?
Yes.
All right, where are you now exactly?
Police department. Buffalo Grove.
Have you gone inside to talk to anybody or no?
Where? Police department?
At the police department, yeah.
No, I was told to call 911. I'm here. I'm just waiting for instructions.
Okay.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
How are you?
Good. How can I help you?
Good, good. I need police escort to my residence to pick up my wallet and my clothes.
You're 20 minutes away still?
Yeah.
Okay, so since you're 20 minutes away, when you get there, why don't you park 2 houses down and call 911, and then we'll send it on.
No, I am not too far. Consider it done. Let's send a...
Now, if you're 20 minutes away, is that what
I
you're
am
saying?
10 minutes away. Tell me when to be there. I'll be there at 7 o'clock. Let's do that.
Well, we don't take appointments, that's what I'm saying. So
Okay, so I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay?
If you will be there in time... Oh, no, hold on. What is your name?
Good.
Your last name, Andre?
I said it's Mr. Kislyak, Kisliak.
And what is your middle initial and your birthday?
I don't use middle initials.
Does she have an order of protection against you, or do you have one against her?
I think it's both. But right now it's hers again. Her order of protection.
And then the last 911 call that was made from the home, which was on October 21st. And this is when Andre called to say, "Hey, I see somebody on my Ring camera. I see some trucks. I want officers to go there and investigate and see who's at my house."
911, what's the address of the emergency?
Somebody robbed at my house. Did you send officers?
Are you there at the location right now?
No, I saw on camera somebody over there was doing some stuff.
How many people?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Did you send officers over there?
I'm getting officers started over there. Tell me exactly what you can see on the camera.
I'm about 20 minutes away. I don't know. Hopefully everything is good.
Now, Vera did eventually go and put a protective order against Andre and wanted him to not be around her. Vera allegedly told a judge countless times that Andre was terrorizing her. She was afraid for her safety, for the kids' safety, and that he would come into the house intoxicated on whatever. She even said that he was bringing in sex workers into their home. I mean, I know that's a big old giant home, but can you imagine? She even allegedly told a judge that her husband Andre had told her that he would slice off her head and mail it to her family in Belarus. Now, some of these things Andre was saying really makes me wonder what all he had going on or what all he was actually on, because it was alleged that he even told a babysitter that they had for the kids that he was going to mail 7 days worth of like flowers back to her grandmother and overseas, as like basically like saying that Vera was dead. Like mail the flowers to her, the funeral flowers to her. Like, who even thinks of something like that? And then he also told the babysitter that he believed that Vera had performed black magic on him. Like it sounds like, we'll get there, but like some of the things that he was saying was not in reality some way, somehow. And Vera was getting even more creeped out because she said that somebody had taped a picture of a firearm to her grandmother's front door overseas. And so when she heard that from her grandmother, she's thinking like, is he doing stuff? Does he got connections over there? Like what is going on? Then Andre went down to the courthouse and tried to file a order of protection against Vera, saying that he worked for 10 years and she didn't work. He's worked 3 jobs at a time and he paid for that house and all of this stuff, and she just used him for his money. He even wrote in the petition something to the effect of, unfortunately, Vera, who entered the U.S. 10 years ago as an internet bride, couldn't find herself and make something of herself. And of course, the judge is reading this like, denied. Just so bizarre. One of Vera's only friends kind of knew about what she was going through, and she was trying to encourage Vera. She's like, you need to get yourself and them kids and get out. Pack it all up and go somewhere. And Vera was like, I cannot. He has all the money. I have no money to take them anywhere. And you guys, please find a shelter. If you're in one of these situations, there are shelters that are specifically for mothers that are dealing with DV types of situations, but I'll put some resources in the description box and at the end. But to keep going, like, just pack up your stuff and go. Please go to a church, something. Another instance that happened between them back in August of 2022, Andre allegedly held the keys to his family's 4 BMW cars hostage when Vera tried to take the girls to school but refused to take them himself. Vera was able to get a neighbor to drive them, but Andre supposedly followed behind them, recording them, berating them, and yelling at them to take an Uber. The court ordered Andre to hand over at least one set of keys to Vera, and when he did, it was supposedly a broken key. Vera claimed the car would only run for a few seconds before stopping, and documents show that Andre had other run-ins with the law, including business owners asking the police to remove Andre from their establishments, as well as taxi cab drivers calling to report Andre not paying his own fare. Prior to Andre marrying Vera, he had a record for a situation that had happened with another female before. Records show that Andre was a suspect in another incident involving a fiance that he had at the time. The woman actually called 911 after Andre reportedly grabbed her by the neck, slapped her in the face, and pushed her out of the house. Officers noted that the woman had a large welt on her neck and a bloody nose. Andre denied hitting the woman, but the report indicates that officers placed Andre under arrest and charged him with a misdemeanor DB. After all of this, Vera was finally granted a protective order on September 14th of 2022. And Andre was arrested just 16 days later for violating that protective order. But he was given a bond and was immediately able to post bond and get out. The same day that Andre bonded out of jail for violating the protective order against his wife and children, he got on social media and started posting like some very weird and threatening pictures. One of them being a picture of a casket with thumbs up next to it. I cannot imagine how terrified Vera was at this time. Like, he was taunting her. He was literally messing with her, taunting her. And I'm just putting myself in Vera's shoes, especially being from another country, right? The systems work differently. Her not probably knowing about things like shelters and stuff like that because she's just been here living, taking care of her kids. and her not realizing the resources that we do have over here. She could have gone to a church, or she could have probably walked into just about any establishment and walked in with her 2 kids and said, I'm scared. And somebody would have probably taken her to the back, locked the door, and called somebody. Now, Vera was granted sole access or custody of the children because of all of this. And in that same month of September, a judge ordered Andre to be held in contempt for repeatedly disrupting a court hearing with profane outbursts. And even at this time, Andre told Vera that he would kill her and her family that was still living in Europe. He said that if she didn't stop the divorce and come back to him and be with him, he was going to disfigure her face in a way that no one would recognize her. And Vera's lawyers even said at one point that Andre was an unstable man that was capable of anything. And it also came out that they were having financial troubles. It was said that their house was in foreclosure and they hadn't made a payment on it since 2020. So when you think about all these things and this guy, Andre, it's like things are just spiraling, right? Spiraling. The house is in foreclosure. He is whatever. He's having some sort of either psychotic break or he's on some sort of serious something. It's just, and she is just trying as a mama duck to like put her wings over her 2 little chicks and just keep them safe. All while his mama is living in the house while all of this is going on. Being horrified herself too, probably. But then it is said on November 1st, the judge allowed Andre to move back into the home, even though they strongly advised him not to. Andre, some way, somehow, had manipulated Vera into calling down there and asking them to lift the order so he could come back into the home. And they strongly tried to talk her out of it. And I guess she wanted her family back. I don't know, but they allowed it. And they allowed him to move back in the home. And just 30 days later, the unthinkable happened. On the morning of November 30th of 2022, one of Vera's friends said that she got a call from a relative of Vera's in Belarus who said that someone had called to say that Vera was in the hospital. Vera's sister reached out on a messaging app to ask the friend if Vera was okay, and she responded that Vera was fine and that she spoke with her last night. But when the friend called and texted Vera, she got no response. She called the home care facility where Vera worked and was told that she hadn't shown up for her shift. So then that friend called 911 to go to the home to do a welfare check. This is when the officers went into the home and found a grisly discovery. And this is even when I heard one of the officers say that you can't prepare for this type of thing. They walked into this big, beautiful home that some of these officers knew pretty well because, they had been called there 14 times in the previous 4 months. And when they walked inside, this is when they found Vera, his mother, the 2 girls, and the dog, all deceased from sharp object stabbings. And all of them. Even the animal. And then as they continued to search through the house, this is when they found Andre, who was also deceased by the same way. So not only did he stab them to death, but he even turned it on himself. I cannot imagine the horror that went on in that home. And them babies. And what they saw, what they heard. And then he turned it on himself, which is not something that you hear about often like that. We talked about the Ellen Greenberg situation and the theories on that and if she really did or if she didn't. But in this case, he really did. The victims were actually found in multiple different places in the house. None of them were in the bed sleeping when it happened, which means that they were awake. And they knew what was going on. The Buffalo Grove police, when they gave their statement, they said it was horrific and that it was traumatic.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for all coming out today. My name is Chief Brian Buds. First, on behalf of the men and women of the Buffalo Grove Police Department, along with the entire village board and staff, our sincerest and heartfelt condolences go out to the families of the victims of this tragic incident. Today is a very sad day for our community as we continue to process this unthinkable event. I want to thank the responding officers of the Buffalo Grove Police Department and fire departments for their service and dedication in handling this traumatic investigation. To reiterate last night's media release, yesterday, November 30th at 11:12 a.m., Buffalo Grove Police were dispatched to a single-family residence located in the 2800 block of Acacia Terrace following a call for a well-being check on an adult female. Upon our arrival, police were unable to make contact with anyone inside the home. Forced entry was deemed necessary, and a sweep of the home was conducted. 5 deceased individuals were found. The preliminary investigation indicates this was a domestic-related incident, and there was no further threat to the community.
I can't imagine being in that community too, because what they were basically telling the community is there's 5 victims in this house. Okay, they're all deceased, but there's nothing to worry about. Nobody's been arrested, nothing to worry about. The community is safe. And I'm sure some of the community was like, what are you talking about? And then to come to find out it was actually the father of the 2 little girls that they seen running in the neighborhood.
It's really sad. They're really wonderful little girls, and then the wife is about my daughter's age.
It shouldn't happen with kids. Kids have no rights to that.
I know she was in court. I know she had filed protection orders, and I know that she had, because she had talked to me about this.
It did also come out that just one day before the bodies were found, that the house was being assessed to being like sold off, and that's, I mean, you can always start over, right? You can always start over with things, a home, your possessions. I don't think that that's the reason why he did it. A friend of Andre's had actually told the media that months leading up to this, that he quit working completely and actually started selling some of his stuff on eBay. And that was totally not like him. He was somebody that worked all the time. People were coming from all over to just try to like honor the little girls and the family and stuff. And they were putting like balloons and candles and stuff like that. Some questions that I have about this case is I want to know the toxicology report on Andre. I want to know, was he on something? Was he on some bath salts? Was he smoking crack? I mean, was he on meth and not sleeping for 30 days at a time? Like we talked about earlier in the video, some of the things that he was even saying and doing is just, did he have a psychotic break? I mean, was he evil the whole time? I mean, there's just so many more questions. I hope that we'll find out at some point. But what I do want to say, and especially if you are maybe not from this country and you just don't know these things, like there are options out there. Do what you've got to do to take care of you and your kids, especially. And we've talked about this before. I believe it's the number 1 911 call that is the most dangerous is DV situations. It's the DV situations. People don't know what they're walking into with that. And you've got, passion or years of involvement with somebody. People start losing their minds. They don't care about anything else in that moment, and they're willing to do whatever. And it's serious for a reason. This is just so sad. This is so sad. It could have been prevented. And it seems like Vera really tried. I mean, imagine her picking up that phone and calling 911 again and again and again and again. She was trying. It sucks. And the little girl tried. The little girl even told the lady at the bar that she was scared to go home. Ugh. What do you guys think? Have y'all heard about this? I'm going to put an 800 number for DV hotline right here. I will put it down in the description as well, you guys. Please take care of yourselves. Get out. Don't stay in these situations. I love you guys, and I will see y'all in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.